Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM, Facebook, and YouTube Live in the first watch today. What should we expect in the plan for Jamaica to become a republic? In the second watch, the interactions between teachers and students. Is there a moral breakdown? For our social media question, we ask, do you think Jamaica is ready to become a republic? Share your responses in our Love One FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your response later on in the program, but first, here's I quote.
And for the I quote this morning, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I am possible, by Audrey Hepburn.
Kimberly, greetings. How are you?
Good morning, Stokely. I'm great. And how are you? Long time.
Long time indeed. I am well. I am well.
Okay,
Very
good to hear.
interesting, I quote.
Yes. Yes,
Indeed,
indeed.
indeed,
Nothing is
indeed.
impossible.
Okay, the first watch. We'll be back after this break.
The first sound they make is to simply let the world know they're here. And then it's our duty to help them show the world why they're here in the first place.
Give them every advantage with the Guardian Achiever, a plan that provides for their educational dreams and protects their health and life in the process. For more information, call 888 for Life to speak to an advisor or visit myguardiangroup.com.
We try to send our children to school with a healthy lunch, right? If we knew what was in some of those foods that are high in sugar, saturated fats, and sodium, would we still give it to them? An unhealthy diet as a child can lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer as they get older. Octagonal warning labels on the front of food packages are 9 times more effective at identifying unhealthy foods. Give us octagonal warning labels on packaged foods. Protect our children's health. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Keep fully connected with Flow Fiber Fast Internet at home and on the road with LTE data and calls for a fast, reliable experience anywhere. Over 500 communities have been upgraded since 2020, making more of Jamaica Flow Fiber Fast. And with Yard and Road, get Flow Fiber Faster Yard and LTE Road for as low as $3,999 plus GCT. Visit discoverflow.co to get connected on Jamaica's largest network. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the main watch. And the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs will be revealing the plans put in. Well, in fact, she has already given an idea as to what those plans are in terms of cutting ties with the British monarchy and to establish Jamaica as a republic. Now, to address these and other related issues, we have online Mr. Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law, and Ms. Shirley Richards, attorney at law, and also legal counsel of the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society. Gentlemen and lady, good morning to you both. How are you?
Good morning,
Good morning, good
Marshall.
morning,
Good
Mr.
morning,
Marshall.
Wendell.
Yeah, morning to
Greetings to you
Shirley
both
and
indeed.
morning to your listeners.
Now, before we get into the meat of the matter, I just wanted to, help the listeners to understand legally, in a basic framework, what might be required for Jamaica to become established as a republic. We know, for example, that the provision which, under which the Queen is our head of state, the head of the executive, is a specially entrenched provision of the Constitution of Jamaica, and it will take a couple of steps to at least have that changed. And of course, the relevant minister, Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, she made mention of a relevant committee that would be overseeing, as it were, or looking at this whole matter of us becoming a republic. Mr. Wilkins, in terms of the general outline of the steps required for Jamaica to become a republic, would you like to give the listeners an idea as to what to expect legally?
Yes, to remove the Queen as the head of state requires certain legal procedures to be followed, and that has to be done in Parliament and follow whatever is set out in the Constitution. Now, that provision where the Queen is the head of state is a provision that is not easy to remove or to amend. Special procedures have to be adopted, and the procedure is more than just a simple majority vote by the members of Parliament. You have to put the proposed law to change the Constitution to remove the Queen in Parliament, and it has to stay there for a little time, and then you have debate. And even when you have the debate, when you are voting, you have to have a certain majority, a higher majority than the 50%. And that has to go up into the Senate, and the same kind of procedure follows. So that is a bit complicated and a little different than the normal simple majority and a vote. Plus, you have to go to the electorate to vote on that. So it's a complicated matter, comparatively speaking, and various steps. And it takes a little time because you can't move from one step to the other without the passage of a certain specified time as set out in the Constitution. But apart from that question of the procedure, we as citizens of this country need to address why we move the Queen. Is it something for our betterment? In what way, if there's a betterment? That has to be discussed, because it's more than a legal matter, you know?
Yes, it is in fact pretty much more than a legal matter, although the law is very important in terms of executing it. And in fact, just as a reminder to listeners, the executive authority of the Queen is a specially entrenched provision of the Constitution of Jamaica. And when a provision is specially entrenched, it can be amended, yes, but in addition to, well, there will have to be a referendum, most definitely. And before that referendum, you would have to have, and of course, we need to have the majority of the persons in a referendum electing to go in that route. And prior to that, you would have had to have the votes of 2/3 of all members of each of the two houses of parliament. And I think based on our current numbers of persons in the Senate as well as in the lower house, the government at this time has the 2/3 in the lower house, but in terms of the Senate, they would probably need at least one vote from the opposition. So clearly, this cannot be something that only one side of the political divide can address. Shirley Richards, any comments, whether from a legal perspective or other perspective, political perspective? Any comments on the matter of removing the Queen and us becoming a republic? Shirley Richards?
Yes, Mr. Marshall. Firstly, I am not so certain that if the Senate rejects it, that it can pursue. I think there are special provisions that it could actually go to a referendum, but that at that point, there'd be a requirement of 2/3 of the electors voting to approve the bill. So there are some complexities there. There's some complexities. Obviously, the simpler process is for 2/3 of each house. Let me just say, one of the concerns that I have is that Mrs. Ford has promised a comprehensive and thorough review of the Constitution, and she has also mentioned the Charter of Rights. So this is not simply a matter of substituting the Queen with a president. This, as I think, for the most part, Trinidad has done. But it goes further than that. The committee which she will be establishing, the one which will be making a comprehensive and thorough review of the Constitution. And I'm wondering to what end. Is it broken? What do we need to fix? Apart from the matter of the Queen, and I can tell you it seems both parties are there. But what else? So there is that initial question, which, a lot of push to get rid of the Queen. No. But it seems in addition to that other issues are being considered. And I wondered why and to what end.
Well, do you think that Jamaica is even ready to become a republic? No, this is definitely not a legal question. Ms. Richards, do you think we are ready to become a republic?
To tell the truth, I don't have much of I don't have much of a problem becoming a republic. I would rather a situation closer to Trinidad's situation as distinct from what happened in Barbados. I don't have a problem with that. My concern is this. Is it that we are moving away from the Queen and moving to other masters? So, for example, the new ACP-EU agreement, which has been initiated. When you look at it, it's like we are entering into another phase of neocolonialism. So, on one hand, we're talking about removing the Queen, but on the other hand, we're going into a relationship which we are coming out of with the EU.
Interesting.
And so these are things to consider.
Hold that thought, Mrs. Richards. Mr. Wilkins, hold your thoughts as well. Listeners, stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
What would I do without you? You help me carry on. You help me stay strong whenever I'm down and can get through. You lift me up again and going all day long. Precious moments we share with you, everything's so right. It's clear, nothing else can compare to the taste that you bring to life. Mom, take it full of life.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Where you get the money transfer. Money move like a bird, like a plane, it's a blur. Money quick, money fast, money reach in a flash. It's your agent no run out of cash. Pay the rent, pay the bills or buy the grocery. Make a call for the cash and pay the school fee.
Money when and where you need it. Alliance MoneyGram Money Transfer. Convenient locations island-wide. A member of the Sagicor Group.
Tell me where you get the money transfer.
Alliance.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the first watch, and we are having a conversation with Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law, and Shirley Richards, attorney at law, as well as her being the legal counsel for the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society. And it's about Jamaica. What what should we expect in the plan for Jamaica to become a republic? What should we expect in the plan for Jamaica to become a republic? Ms. Richards, just before the break, you are making a very interesting point. You are concerned as to whether we might be moving from one master to the next, albeit that the other master would not be embodied in a monarch. You want to clarify or to expound on what you just said, Ms. Richards?
Yes. So it's one thing to say we are replacing the Queen with a president. And mark you, it doesn't seem to be only that. And to that extent, Jamaicans need to keep their eyes open regarding what will actually be proposed and the process of getting there. So we need to be very, very alert. But secondly, just want to mention that the government has, along with other nations, entered into an arrangement with the EU. When you look at that proposed, that pending treaty, it's all embracing. It's all sectors of a society to which to my mind, we're basically ceding control to the EU. And so, on the one hand, we're talking about replacing the Queen, but on the other hand, we're going back into a relationship, into a neo-colonial relationship with the EU. What's this all about?
I see. Mr. Wilkins, this is not a purely legal question I'm about to raise with you, but we have been discussing the whole idea of becoming a republic for a couple of decades now. We are now at this stage. And do you have any comments as to why you think it might have taken us this length of time to get to where we are at now?
Well, the process, as described before, is lengthy and complicated, and therefore that is not something that can be readily done because you have the numbers.
I see.
Question of survival of the citizen takes precedence over a matter of this nature of removing the Queen. You have matters of finance, economics, you have matters of crime and health, and other associated matters to deal with, bread and butter issues. So the bread and butter issues of survival and progress of the citizen takes priority, and therefore this matter of the removal of the Queen is not a popular upfront topic that people are demanding must be done by the government. So it is always on the back burner. But my perspective on all of this is, what is the purpose of it? Because removing the Queen, does it make us a better nation thereafter? Does it make us better citizens? Does it solve our bread and butter issues, the matter of crime and all of those things? That has to be dealt with. And in making the change, we get the impression from what has been said by the government that other changes will be coming. What are these other changes? The public needs to know. We need to have changes and consideration and discussion on matters as to whether or not we should keep the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council as the final court of our Jamaican court system. We have to have discussions around that, because the impression is given that other changes will be coming. What about, and to replace it by the Caribbean Court of Justice? So there needs to be a whole education that is done. There are matters about making the parish judges more secure in their tenure, so that they are not exposed to any undue influence. Just like how the security of tenure for the High Court or Supreme Court judges. The question of persons with disabilities, they need to have rights just like everybody else. And there's an opinion that it should be a constitutional provision that persons with disabilities should have the part of the right aspect of the Constitution. And the matter of fixed term elections and other associated matters. Now, it's a lot of things to discuss and put on the table so that when the electorate vote, they vote properly and they vote on issues. So there is also that lurking problem because we are so tribalized politically that people will not be looking at the issues and the pros and cons, but voting along party lines if there is a need for a referendum on some of these matters. So this whole constitutional move to change things in the Constitution is a complicated matter. It has to be dealt with deeply and comprehensively, and to make sure that if the electorate has to vote on some of these matters, they are voting on the issues and not along party lines.
You know, it's reported here in the Observer and in other news media. For example, here, on 7th, 2022, there is, among the latest was that Jamaica will transition to a republic in time for the next general election, which is constitutionally due in 2025. There's another news source which points to 2025 being the date by which Jamaica would become a republic. Any comments in relation to the length of time being allocated for this to be done? And you know, you made mention, Mr. Wilkins, of needed at this time. Hope I'm not misquoting you, but in a nutshell, what is the reason or the purpose for it? And of course, there is a committee which is to be constituted or is being constituted, and it is to include members of the opposition to deal with the it is to be called Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC. Mr. Wilkins, any comments on that?
Yes, the thing that has to be put up front for the Jamaican citizens, because it's not about people in parliament, the elected officials there, but it's about us, all the citizens. If and when this change is done, and it's going to take some time because the steps are many steps, and the edification of the nation must be done properly about the issue. But at the end of the day, apart from the feel good that we are now removed from our colonial masters and we are a republic and we are more appearing on paper independent, how does that exercise, that great constitutional exercise of this change, of removing the Queen, affect us in our daily life? I do not see great purpose behind constitutional change, and it is not going to make our lives better. That must be an urgent front burner matter too. As citizens, when we say tomorrow we are a republic, how it affects us in our daily struggle and challenges. It can't be just a legislative thing and we say hooray, and it's a good feeling politically that you are now free of the Queen who doesn't know anything about us. And there's a
and I also wonder if we would still remain in the Commonwealth, having become a republic. That's another question.
We will, because there are benefits of that community, you know, helping us with technical support, loans and grants, and you know, that sort of thing. And you know, when you are in mass, you have greater influence on the world scene. So I suspect that will remain. I am more concerned about the average man out there when these legislative changes are done. Apart from the feel good, what about my life? Will I progress? Will I be better? So the educational process before we start the parliamentary formal process is a massive exercise, so people are clear what they are getting into.
But yeah, go ahead, Mr. Richards. I'm about to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yes, the impression I'm getting is that both parties are expected to be on the same page where this is concerned. I think I heard one past politician just lobbying that view. Listen, both parties need to stand on the same platform and to be lobbying the viewpoints of the Jamaican people in favor of the Republic. No, I'm not so certain whether that is good or bad, but I think that is something that we can expect will happen, that the support, that both parties will be supporting this move. And I support all the other issues. This is something.
Well, remember, just for the, well, I'm not saying on an editorial note, but we do have two other registered political parties. I'm just saying that to make sure that that is in fact said. But go ahead, Mrs. Richards.
Sorry, both major political parties. Thanks for that. Yes. Thanks for that correction, Mr. Marshall. Both major political parties. And so I find this exercise to be, I mean, if you, the Charter of Rights only came into existence 2011, are you going to be reviewing that again? I mean, just about.
Well, there is to be this committee shortened as CRC, Constitutional Reform Committee. Is this a committee that a group such as yours would want to influence in some way, maybe as a member of the committee even, or maybe at least approaching members of the committee, because you seem to be concerned that the charter could be revised?
I would expect that, I mean, this group will be open to Parliament. It will be the usual joint select committee of Parliament. And,
well, it doesn't say that though. But I don't know if that's
what it is. Say that. I am assuming so, but I can't say how you're going to change the whole constitution and not be taking submission.
Well, more and on clearly.
I can't see how you're going to go through that. And I think this is something which the Jamaican people need to keep a very, very close eye on.
Well, more and on clearly.
Of just replacing the Queen.
Yes, clearly more to come on that aspect. Well, any closing thoughts you want to leave with us, gentleman and lady? Starting with you, Mr. Wilkins, and then Shirley.
Yes, certainly it can't be just the Queen being removed from the stage. There are other things that have to be done, and the nation, the citizens must know what is involved and the implications of it, so that if and when they are involved in a vote, then they are looking on the issues and the benefits, the disadvantages, and not just following.
I have to bring in Ms. Richards here only because of time. Ms. Richards, in a second or two, any final thought?
Keep your eyes open, Jamaican.
Okay, have to leave it there this morning. Shirley Richards, Wendell Wilkins for the first watch. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
A JN Bank personal unsecured loan can help you tackle your goals with monthly payments as low as $19,999 per million. Conditions apply. The time by JN Bank is
7:31 on the Family Station, Love 101.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
I'm advised you don't know all this shot and tally. I have a message to everyone.
get vaccinated. Hey, tourism the main driver of the local economy. It provides us with job, feed the country. So everybody in the industry, get the job and come follow me. It don't hurt to the dirt. Lick the nurse cause the vaccine work. Get vaccinated. Yeah. This is a message from the Ministry of Tourism. Get vaccinated. Just get vaccinated. You're deaf?
Get $100 cash from Alliance for your birthday bash when you collect a MoneyGram money transfer on your birthday this June. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we look briefly at the Gleaner. What we see here is IMF Managing Director to visit Caribbean this week. And we also have PICA to offer services at Diaspora Conference. And we then move over to the Jamaica Observer. We have police seek help. And this is about finding missing elderly St. Mary man. Very some concern there. Very concerning. We also have OCA, that would be Office of the Children's Advocate, improves 24-hour helpline initiative. Those and many other stories in both major daily newspapers. And of course, coming up, we would have the feedback to our social media question, which is, do you think Jamaica is ready to become a republic? Leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp comments to 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Whether you grew up in church or not, it's likely that you've misquoted, misused, and or misunderstood one or more verses in the Bible. Let's look at a few from Matthew, Ephesians, 1 Timothy, and Exodus. Is it as simple as cultural misinterpretations or inherited ignorance? Could it be because of religious stubbornness or laziness? When we miss the point of these verses, what can happen to us, especially to those who lead and teach? Tuesday, June 14 on The Rock, join host Pastor Courtney Morrison and guests Pastor Bruce Paulson and Reverend O'Neill Brown as they discuss the topic, more misused and misunderstood Bible verses. Ephesians 5 verse 22, Matthew 7 verse 1, Matthew 18 verse 20, 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, and Exodus 21 verse 23 to 25. That's The Rock, Tuesday, June 14 at 10 a.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
What a heat! What a whole heap of sun! At the best time to explore. Come make we have some fun. You heard right. Summer is knocking on our doors. And you can be sure that Love 101, the family station, will be taking the fun to a town near you. And we're off! St. Elizabeth! St. Elizabeth! Love 101 is coming your way for the first stop in this year's I Love Summer. It's time to explore door. Yes, we're kickstarting the fun in the town of Santa Cruz at Camric Hardware. Come join us Saturday, June 18 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. for live performances, games, giveaways, prizes, and surprises. Come chat and interact with some of our very own Love 101 announcers. I Love Summer It's time to explore door. First stop, Saturday, June 18, 2 to 5 p.m. in the town of Santa Cruz at Camric Hardware on Santa Plaza. It's gonna be good. St. Elizabeth, here we come.
Love 101's I Love Summer Tour, the Jamaica 60 edition.
Where are the campus eyes?
Summer is loading and some bags are being packed. But where are they heading exactly? To foreign. Yes, it is time again for work and travel, and some campus sites are already on their way to their international jobs. So this week inside Campus Connection, we're going to take a look at the importance of campus sites being a part of a work and a travel program. Is it too expensive for the majority? Can they be funded? What are some of the do's and don'ts of work and travel? We're going to find out this and more this Tuesday, June 14 at 5:30 p.m. Also, inside our Creative Block segment, Tanya Price, YouTuber, will join us for a chat to share the joy she finds in traveling in Jamaica to entertain her 50,000 subscribers. That's Campus Connection with Jonathan Fletcher and Anesta Samuels. This and every Tuesday here on Love 101, the family station.
It's all about the grassroots. So tell you what, one bam campus.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We now look to see what our friends on social media have to say in relation to today's question. Do you think Jamaica is ready to become a republic, Kim Lee?
All
Any
right,
thoughts?
Stokely, let me check our Facebook. There are some comments about that question. Christian Child says it seems Jamaicans need to be alerted because changes are coming, will not be in favor of the citizens or without vital concerns of the country. Jamaica will change to a Republic of China. Jamaicans will need to fight for independence all over again. Let me see if I find another comment. Christian Child commented again, to be a republic will give government accountability of its political gains. Education will decline. Let me check our WhatsApp line. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on our WhatsApp line at this moment.
I see interesting comments there. Well, keep the comments coming. Now we move into the second watch. Now, if you've been following the news or catching up on social media, you might have seen many stories or a couple of stories about students and teachers getting into confrontations of one form or the other. A most recent one is that between a teacher at the Tivoli Gardens High School and a student. It was caught on video and made the rounds on social media. And the very unfortunate sometimes when these sorts of videos make the rounds, but it is what it is, it would seem. Now, this can beg the question, is there a moral breakdown concerning the interactions between teachers and students? Is there a moral breakdown, or is there some other breakdown? To discuss these and other related issues we have online at the moment, certainly we have Leah Kim Semaj, psychologist and social philosopher, founder, ideator, Above or Beyond. And we hope to have online Lynn Vern Wright, principal, William Knibb Memorial High, and president of the Jamaica Association of Principals and Secondary Schools. Dr. Semaj, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And not very pleasant talking to you under these circumstances, discussing a topic like this. It seems as if the downward trajectory is getting worse because, obviously, because it is indicated in the media that the young man in question was charged, there are some things I will avoid saying, but the video that was posted on social media showed what appeared to be a female teacher and a male student in what seems to have been a fight. And what comments, if any, does this evoke from you, Dr. Semaj? Because I know when I was going to school, I went to a prep school, I went to a primary school, I went to high school. I have never in my life seen a teacher and a student fighting. But you know, Dr. Semaj, maybe I'm not with the times. Any comments, Dr. Semaj?
Well, I think not waiting on here. I do believe that it's a long, steep decline that we have been in for a long time now. The big difference at hand is that this is the era of cameras, videos, and social media. So things that will have happened.
Dr. Semaj, forgive me, I'm a little emotional about this. I am saying I have never, when I went to school, that would have been completely unheard of. I was almost transfixed watching the video. Any comments on the fact that there was even a fight, or what appears to have been a fight?
Well, it could have been a unique situation for you to be in, but I'm saying that this deep, steep decline has been going on for quite some time. But in the absence of social media and video and so on, something could happen in a school and it is contained within a class. It doesn't spread to the whole school. It doesn't spread to the outside community, because there have always been quote unquote bad boys in schools.
Dr. Semaj, there's a line you mustn't cross. Teacher and student, whoever started must never be in a fight.
Let me clarify. Over 20 years ago, I identified that most schools had at least somewhere between 10 and 20 boys who were in the departure lounge. Meaning that their behavior and their attitude was preparing them for expulsion.
Hold that thought, Dr. Semaj, because we have Linvern right now, only because of time and we're almost upon a break. Mr. Wright, I'm so sorry you just came on. Any comments in relation to what appears to be a decline in the interactions, healthy interactions between teachers and students? Because what appears to have been a fight that I saw on social media is really abhorrent. Mr. Wright?
Well, these things have been going on, and I hear Dr. Samad speaking. Good morning, everyone. These things have been going on. What I, as an educator, have an issue with.
You just lightly say these things have been going on, Mr. Wright. That's a very light comment. These things have been going on, really?
Well, hear me out.
Yes,
hear me out before you make a comment, right? And I'm saying what is happening to us is that we have a knee-jerk response to these things, right? We have
no, Mr. Wright, those things must never happen. Anyway, we are already upon a. We are. I know, Mr. Wright. We're going to have you back after the break. Just hold the thought, listeners. Please stay with us because we'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
$50 and over, get the best health plan as well as fabulous discounts. Visit ccrponline.org today or call 469-1944 and live life to the fullest. The time by CCRP is
7:45 and a half.
Make I tell you about short-term motor insurance from JNGI. Short-term. You choose what you need, 30, 60, 90 days policy. No long commitment, full third party. Don't back your car, don't walk, get a shotty. So affordable and it's not Coronation Market. JNGI shotty. Country party, we have a shotty. Just insure your vehicle and start it. Roll out with a shotty. Shotty, the short-term motor insurance from JN General Insurance. Available only online.
Importers. Shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Let me your phone again there. Mine are more shaky. Brother, it's about time. For what? You switch to Flow for the blue side vibes with big smartphone deals. Like the Alcatel A1 for just $4,645 GCT include, which comes with 14 days of unlimited talk, YouTube, Spotify, and social, plus 4 GB TikTok data. Or the ZTE A31 for just $6,500 GCT included. Comes with a 7-day unlimited plan. Link a Flow store now for switch and keep your number.
Offer available while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Up, put your plans in motion. There's a JN Bank loan just for you. That's true. Put your plans in motion. JN Bank will help you see them through.
A JN Bank unsecured loan can help you fix up your home, handle that emergency, consolidate debt, and more. Borrow up to $5 million with low monthly payments.
Put your plans in motion.
Monthly payments as low as $19,999 per million. Conditions apply. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I am your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the second watch. And in this second watch, we are looking at interactions between teachers and students. Is there a moral breakdown? Interactions between teachers and students. Is there a moral breakdown? Our guests are Leah Kim Semaj, Dr. Leah Kim Semaj, psychologist and social philosopher, founder, ideator Above or Beyond. And we also have Linvern Wright. Mr. Linvern Wright, principal, William Knibb Memorial High, and president, Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools. Now, Mr. Wright, before the break, you were making a point, and a very key point. It appears you are saying that these are things that have been going on for quite some time now. Continue your thought, Mr. Wright, because certainly when I went to school, that would have been completely unheard of. But please proceed, Mr. Wright.
It depends on which school you went to. Because the fact is that in Jamaica, in some schools, some things are minimal in other schools, because the way we place our students, we get, in many instances, students from particular social background in particular schools.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Wright, Mr. Wright.
Yes, sir.
I am cutting into what you're saying. No. I started out, I was very deliberate when I opened the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a prep school. I went to a primary school. I went to high school. And in the primary schools, as an example, because some people have a perception of prep school. In the primary school, you had children from all walks of life. I had never seen anyone fighting a teacher. Please proceed, Mr. Wright.
I started teaching in the 90s. And in the 90s, I had 2 cases at the school, and it's a rural school.
And I'm not saying the student was wrong. I'm not saying the teacher was wrong either. Let me make that clear.
No, but
go ahead.
I figure you want to make a point that there's a moral breakdown. What I would like to say is that moral breakdown don't just begin today. Moral breakdown is something that started sometime, right? If you check what has happened, and what I think we do sometimes in discussion is to forget that schools are microcosms of society. Who in Jamaica has been pleased with what has been happening socially for the last 30 years? It would get to this. And what we have not done is that we have not done the kind of work. We have talked and we have talked. We have the talk shows. We have the people in parliament talk. Maybe some of us as educators talk. But the point is that the kinds of things that we really need to be doing. I have heard people like Leah Kim Semaj and people like Herbert Gill talk. What they have done great sessions. But who are the people willing to deal with the action that will make impact to change these things? Schools are asked to deal with these children who come from a cauldron of problems. And when they come into the schools, what you have to deal with them as a teacher, male or female, are tools that are not matching the kinds of behaviors that you're seeing. So it is going to get worse. It's the same way You notice of police, many of them, the skills they have.
Okay. I'm going to ask to pause 1 second, Mr. Wright, not only because I want to bring back in Dr. Semaj, but to just make a point. We saw what appears to have been a fight. We gather the young man has been charged. I won't comment too much on that. I'm not saying either of them was wrong or right. I don't know who is guilty or not guilty. However, one of the concerns I also had, sir, was what I saw of the teacher. I can't say what went into her thinking when she acted the way she acted. I have no idea. I'm not judging her. But just seeing a teacher, whether she was forced to or whether she chose to get into that sort of behavior with a student, never seen that either. What do you think is happening, Mr. Wright? Forget blame for the time being. What do you think is happening which is causing this kind of interaction in a school setting, Mr. Wright?
You know, a breakdown in society. I don't feel school has been different from the rest of society, or children see these things out there. I have made the point several times that even when homes try with students, even when schools try with students, there is a space out there where lawlessness prevails. You watch how the children come to school in the morning. They are not sanitized from the kinds of things that are happening out there. People out there fight people, they call people, they disrespect authority. They are seeing that. They are seeing examples because you dramatize behaviors and they see them, and that's how people grow, right? So what is happening out there in society is something that is reinforcing that these things are okay, right? Anything you want to take. If you want to take our movies, if you want to take music, if you want to take our families interact with each other, if you want to take what is happening in society. So I am not surprised. I'm appalled.
Okay, no, I'm not judging. I'm not judging the young man in the video one way or the other, but I know how boys can fight, and this is just my personal impression of what I saw of him.
And that's fine.
He looked like he was kind of trying to restrain himself somewhat. That's how it seemed to me. I know if a boy wants to exert his aggression, he probably would have shown more force. My opinion. You can ignore that. But even the fact that he was doing what he was doing, it's still something that you would not have seen in school in former times. Dr. Semaj, you're making a point about the breakdown prior to the break, interestingly, on the Morning Watch. You would like to return to that, sir, and develop that point, because this is something which we need to really get to the bottom of.
Well, look, I don't think you're predisposed to hearing anything other than your own position, because each time either of us share our experience, you interject and say, but that can't be, because I've never seen it. So either you're going to be a commentary, or you're going to have it's either a commentary or a conversation.
Well, I have asked you to continue your point. I have asked you to continue the point.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr.
Now, over 20 years ago, I went to the Minister of Education then with a program to help to break and cauterize this with the boys that are in the departure lounge. And it's a system that I would include family and school and community in the intervention. I was told that they have no budget for this. I said, all right, don't deal with it now. We'll just defer it to the Ministry of National Security and Justice, plus GCT. It has happened. There are 3 stages in the socialization, the pro-social process. Stage 1 is the home. That's the first place where this process starts. And there's a condition called opposition defiance disorder, largely in boys, where any attempt at authority, they retaliate. But it is first cauterized in interacting with your father. That you can't bring that to your father, and we'll box you down. But if there's no father, that behavior in its kernel develops and gets stronger and stronger. By the time many of these boys go to school, there are schools where, despite your experience, 70% of teachers' time is taken up with disciplinary issues.
Very true, yes.
At the mild level, it's just this verbal disturbances, emotional disturbances. but it's part in fights continually in the class and so on.
So Dr.
No.
Samaj, when you saw the video, what did it say
One more-
to you?
No. We're not even. That's also. Listen.
Yes.
What I started by saying that things can happen, but if there's no video, you don't experience it as you do now. The video and the social media gives it additional prominence.
Yes,
These
yes.
things are happening almost daily in many schools. The teacher is overburdened by having to take on what mother and father did not do. And most likely, many teachers will fail because teachers are not trained in being combatants. The next step is the police.
Yeah.
So that we'll see that process which started a long time ago with the decline in families in Jamaica.
Well, the police are involved now.
If you go far back enough, in Jamaica,
Yeah.
if you did something on the road and any adult saw it, they could reprimand you.
Indeed.
And when you go home, your parents will also beat you on top of that because, no. Over 20, 30 years ago, we drifted away from that where children became a law unto themselves. Abetted by negative parenting, absence of parenting, and their parents who even turn up at school to beat teacher. How dare you talk hard to my child? So that we can't just use this one incident here. There are many times these have been happening in our schools. Some school districts, much more than others. And some teachers go to school in fear every day.
I see. Dr. Samaj, we are almost out of time already, never enough time on the morning watch. So many things to unpack. I even wondered maybe if, for example, being out of school for a length of time because of the restrictions has had some impact. Do you think that has had any impact at all?
Definitely, because school has two things to do. School is pedagogy, but it's also
Yeah.
socialization. For 2 years, many of these children were absent from that active socialization that comes from school. Now, what were they getting? Cable TV,
Yes.
dancehall music, community influence. Many children had a long problem readjusting to school, to sit still in a classroom for hours. So the worst is yet to come.
That sounds like a very negative note to end on, but maybe it is what it is. Dr. Samaj and Mr. Wright, any final words you want to leave with us? Dr. Samaj first.
Well, I've said my piece. I yield to
Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright.
Well, just to say it's time for action and many other things. I think that many proposals have been made, and what we need is action.
Action in what way? What action would you suggest, for instance?
Proposals that have been put forward by people like Dr. Samaj, like Herbert Gale, like many persons out there who have come forward with solutions that are that will need all hands on deck. And
All hands on deck.
Yes.
All
Socialization.
on. Mr. Wright, thank you. Dr. Samaj, thank you. Forgive me if I appeared to be a little emotional. I guess I was. Thank you, gentlemen, nonetheless. Listeners, thank you for being with us today. Join us again tomorrow for all other topical and controversial issues. And of course, visit our Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app and download it today. Stay connected to us, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Latifah Reed, and our guests. I am Stokely Marsh. You're hanging back to Love in the Morning with Kimberly Levy. Kimberly.
Thank you, Stokely.
You're welcome.